People think they can do it themselves, and then they wonder why the funnel fails.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Copy This, Not That. This is the show where I bring on an expert from another industry and we talk about the difference that sales copy and conversion copy make in those types of industries. So my guest today is Polly Powell. Polly is a funnel builder for ClickFunnels and also the founder and CEO of 5-Step Funnel. So hello, Polly. Good morning.
Hello. Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So, Polly, how did you get into this whole funnel world? How did you get started building funnels?
How did I get into funnels? Well, I used to have a giant inflatable manufacturing business.
Oh, amazing.
Giant, massive inflatables. And when I had that business, I used to use Infusionsoft. And I always thought to myself, if I ever finish this business and I start something new, I'm going to go find a software that I can do for other people. So I went off and searched and found ClickFunnels, and I thought I'm going to go deep dive. I just learned ClickFunnels for like literally 6 months doing nothing else, and then started building funnels for people.
That's amazing. And now you build funnels for ClickFunnels themselves.
Yeah, I'm working with ClickFunnels. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Doing lots of migrating over to ClickFunnels too.
Oh, I bet. That's like the big transition that's going on right now. So that's super fun. Both Polly and I kind of work inside that company, offering our areas of expertise to help them grow as well, which is super fun. So today, I just want to go back and forth about copy and funnels and copy. It's kind of like Bert and Ernie, Ham and Beans, Tom and Jerry. Well, maybe not Tom and Jerry because they're always trying to blow each other up. But like if there were ever two things that went together like peas in a pod, I feel like it's funnels and copy.
Bread and butter.
Yeah, you think so too?
Yeah, definitely, because it's so important to a funnel.
So what would you say, well, like when it comes to your private clients and even inside building for agencies and things like that, what percentage of clients would you say write their own copy as opposed to hiring a copywriter to do it?
I think it's a big thing. People think they can do it themselves, and then they wonder why the funnel fails.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have the right mindset to write the copy correctly in the right format that you should do it. I always think if a funnel fails, it's usually down to the copy. So the people who get somebody to write the copy for them, it always works so much better.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, at least from my viewpoint as a copywriter, a lot of that comes down to being inside your head when it comes to your own offer. Not only not quite understanding exactly how conversion works on a digital marketing level, but trying to get your audience to mobilize when they don't yet understand exactly what the problem or solution is. And so if you just go out there and like start shouting, hey, I have this thing, it's amazing. A lot of times people are like, I don't know why I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's the big thing, isn't it? They don't know why. When you write copy for somebody and you put in the reasons, why should they care?
Right. Yeah.
It's a big thing, isn't it?
It is. It is. What are some of the other things that are like must-haves when it comes to what the copy needs to communicate inside a funnel?
Well, the three things that Russell always talks about, isn't it, is the hook, the story, and the offer. Mm-hmm. And he always says if there's one thing that the funnel fails on, it's always one of those things. I think the story is always one of the things that people fall down on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then as a copywriter, that's the hook and the story are the two main things. You can't change somebody's offer for them.
Right, exactly. We only have so much control.
You can only work with what you've got.
Right, we can make suggestions. And it's rare with the types of clients I work with that they don't have a good offer. I work with clients who have established offers that sell already, but inside sometimes some of the coaching programs that I work with, developing a really strong offer first is super important, because it really has to be something that can provide a result that the person actually wants.
Yeah.
In a way that they can conceive of, producing and being able to take action towards, for sure.
Yeah. But I think the story and the way that the copy leads them to the sale, isn't it? Like removing all objections that they could possibly think of.
Yeah.
That it's a no-brainer.
That's a big one that I see missing a lot of times when people create their first sales funnels. They just skip to the part where they talk about the offer, and they forget that people buy from people.
Yeah.
They don't just, if there's no connection, if they don't feel loyalty towards the person, which only comes through building that parasocial relationship and telling that story, then they can go out and find another offer that promises the same thing, and they'll just buy the cheaper one.
Yeah.
And that's like, everybody loses. That's not a win for anybody when the offer becomes a commodity based on price. So the ability to tell that story is super important.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any examples of maybe clients you've worked with or funnels you've seen where the story is just like, boom, that's it. That's exactly like how it's done?
I don't know. Because I've done quite a lot of webinars.
Sure.
So you don't have as much copy on the webinar because it's all in the slides, isn't it? It's all on the webinar. But when you're doing webinars, it's key. It's usually the 3 reasons why should they show up and watch this webinar. So those 3 points are really, really key.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's about reminding people that they need to show up to get that, isn't it? And that only comes from the copy.
Yeah.
And like the email copy, and I think that's where a lot of people fall down as well. So they'll do a funnel, but the funnel is not just the landing pages; it's the email follow up that goes with it, and the chatbot follow up that can go with it, which is all the copy to get people to show up and people to buy at the end, really, isn't it? It's not just, some people think a funnel is just the landing pages and that's the funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to get the sign up, you got to get the show up, and then you got to follow up for those who don't purchase to get them back to the funnel. There's a lot of pieces, and pretty much every piece of the campaign requires some form of copy.
Definitely. Copy's everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is massive.
So, do you ever have clients come to you and say, I don't want to write my copy, I need a copywriter, but I don't know what to look for? Like, what kind of a copywriter do I need? Like, do you ever have them ask you, like, how do I know who's a good copywriter? Who's good to work with?
Yes, it's really hard. I think it's really hard for people to find who is a good copywriter. How can they distinguish between copywriters?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you distinguish?
So when I have clients or coaching clients come to me, and they say, I know I need to hire a copywriter, but how do I know if they know their stuff? Because anyone can say, yes, I can write copy for you.
Yeah.
But there's a certain number of people who they've come to me as a service provider and said, I know I need to hire a copywriter, but I've hired one before and it didn't work. And I don't know why. And they didn't know why. And I spent thousands of dollars on it. I don't want to get burned again. Like, why is hiring you any different? And I also have, business owners and people like Coach come to me and ask, how do I know? How do I determine if this person really knows what they're doing? And it's really all about the questions that you ask them on the discovery call. There are certain questions that you need to ask in order to show the prospective client that you understand conversion. And one of those questions that I always ask, and this question alone has landed me clients, just this question. And it's, how is your stuff converting now? And they'll be like, what do you mean? Like, okay, let's open up your stats and show me what's going on. Because if you have data, that tells us a story. And a lot of times that will absolutely blow their mind because they do not expect that from a copywriter. They expect that from a marketing strategist or even like a funnel builder or designer, but they don't expect a copywriter to care or know what to look for. And so one of the reasons why I am able to get the results that I can for clients is because I have a deep background in paid traffic and I understand how to read the data. And it's something that I really dial in on teaching my high level students as well, because when you can read the data, you can tell them and help them. You become more of a partner in helping them get better results than just a service provider who hands over copy and then says, see you later.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's very good.
So if they're wanting to test somebody, a business owner wants to test the people they're talking to as copywriters, they can say something like, this is my conversion rate and my click-through rate. What do you think I should do about that? Or what is that telling you? And then just see what they say. Because if they are like, oh, I don't, if they don't have a response or they don't know, you might want to pass on.
I reckon quite a lot of copywriters wouldn't know.
Right. And the other piece of it too is like how well they can climb into the head of the target audience. Are they asking you questions about who you serve? Because really that is the most important piece of the puzzle. Without the target audience, you don't have an offer. You just have a thing that sits on the hard drive of your computer or a thing that sits in a warehouse somewhere ready to be shipped out. The audience is the number one thing that you have to know and understand in order to actually get your thing in the hands of the right people.
So like your students,
mm-hmm.
do they niche in specific niches or how do they work with
Sometimes. So there's a couple different ways that I recommend that they dial in deeper. You can either niche, which would be choosing one specific industry to write for, or you can specialize, which would be choosing more specific types of copy to write. So for instance, I could decide to only write for the aesthetic industry and only write for med spas, but within that I could write funnels and ad copy and emails and social media posts and blogs and all that stuff. Or I could specialize in sales conversion and I could write for different industries, but only focus on funnels, ad copy, and email remarketing sequences. That's kind of where I land. I have certain, I have maybe like 5 or 6 industries that I write for, but it's only sales copy.
Right. Okay.
Only those conversion pieces. And I really recommend that right away, you don't have to choose just one industry, but you do need to narrow to a point. Like you need to narrow in some way, because if you try to spread your services so wide and the knowledge that you have to cram into your brain, the less expertise you gain, which means you won't be able to charge as much. You'll be, burned out. You have to take on more clients to pay the bills because your rates are lower, because your results are lower, because you haven't been able to really hone in on the exact things or industries where you can get the best results.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't, like when they're having funnels built, they don't realize how much research needs to go into the audience.
Yeah, and what does that look like
for
your end as well? Like, I know that it's not just making things look good on the design end. You're handed the copy and you have to take that. And what makes your job easier as a funnel builder when it comes to receiving the copy and then knowing, okay, I've got to, like, what can a copywriter do to make that easier for you?
I think it's easier when the copywriter can see the design of the funnel, so they know what copy we want where. Sometimes if we get given copy for a funnel, we'll run out of copy for the design, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I'll have to go back and say, well, you haven't written enough copy for us.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing, is the audience research in the first off. When a client hasn't got a copywriter, I think they haven't done their audience research enough. And then it's hard if they write their own copy, they really
Mm-hmm.
don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that can be difficult. Another thing that I tend to do is I will actually wireframe as I write the copy. So when I write headlines, it looks like a headline on the Google, and I write in Google Doc and then share the Google Doc with the business.
Yeah, I've seen that's awesome what you do, because that's really helpful, because we worked with a client once together, didn't we?
We did.
And that was really easy to get it done.
Well, so I have a background in design. I used to build, basic websites for business owners. And so for me, when I sat down to write a funnel, I had a hard time just staring at a page full of words. Like my brain needed to see it like a funnel too. And so I started creating, I put a picture box where a picture should go, and I put a video icon where a video should go. And it just became a thing. And I didn't realize how that was actually really valuable to the funnel builders until I started writing for the clients, some of the really high level ones. And they're like, this is so easy. Thank you for making it look like this is so easy for my team to go ahead and they can tell what the headlines are supposed to be. You're indicating where a graphic element could go. This is saving me so much time and brain power of trying to figure it all out just from
so much easier. Yeah, than
just words on a page.
Yes, just a big Word document with it. It's like, oh my God.
Exactly. So I can totally see how, in a way, if you know the type of funnel that converts for webinars and you have a design where, you've got several templates that, like this information in this place is, proven to convert, and you show the copywriter, this is the basic framework we're going to use. They're basically doing the same thing for you just based on your recommendations. So it really does, really help dial it in for everybody.
It does. Yeah. I think it makes it easier for the copywriter as well, and knowing what they're.
It does. And I've done it either way. I've had writers or I've had developers come to me and say, hey, this is a template we're going to be using. Can you write copy for it? Yep, no problem. Or they'll come to me and say, hey, I've got a client who has this. Just send over the wireframe when you're done writing, and I'll have my, designers create the, build. So, but it's nice when the copywriter has an understanding of how the design works with the words, like how to take that information. And also, not that you have to do it. You don't have to create the graphics. You don't have to know what goes in the video, but just a basic idea of how people's brains need variation as they, scan. They need different sizes, different colors. So it kind of makes it kind of like a puzzle, like a fun thing to put together. It doesn't always work though, right? Sometimes you push publish on the funnel and you wait and
it
doesn't.
That's the thing with funnels. People think, oh, it's a magic pill that you're going to make loads of money. But funnels don't work straight away. Not all funnels work straight away. I'd say 95% don't work straight away. You need to test and tweak. You've got to get people start going through it, and you can see where they're falling off.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see where you can go back and tweak things, but just small things to test.
Right. So I'm a copywriter. Let's say I have a client come to me and be like, my funnel isn't converting. Fix it. When it comes to the copy, what are the first things you recommend people change?
The headline is the first one that we would split test.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely. Split test the headline, and then after we've split tested that, it would be a case of looking at the offer as well. It depends where they're falling off on the funnel as well, though, really, doesn't it?
It does.
We'll put screen recording on the funnel so we can see what people are doing and what page they're getting to and things like that. And you can also see with emails, so you could split test the emails.
Definitely.
Subject lines.
What screen record do you use? I know I recommend Hotjar to my clients. Yes. There's other ones too.
Yeah, I use Hotjar.
Yeah,
I like that one.
I'm kind of it surprises me how many people don't have any kind of screen record heat map.
Some people don't even know it exists.
Right. They're like, you could do that? It's great. it really is the only way to truly know, and I totally agree with you. Like, a headline is the first thing that I always recommend testing. And in fact, I teach my students to create 3 or 4 headlines. Yes, indicate which one you believe they'll have best results with at first, but the only way to really know is to run traffic to it. And so don't make the client work so hard for it, or the designer work so hard for it. Give them some extra options so that they can just make that switch, that A/B right away, to get the ball rolling quicker.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if people are going all the way down to the offer description or the stack, and then they're just like, nothing's happening, then it is, it's time to look at the offer. Is it what they want? Do they understand how it can impact their lives? What's different? What's unique about it?
I think it's also about creating the urgency as well. Because some people, if there's no urgency or scarcity, people can just go, oh, well, I'll come back and buy that. But they'll forget. There needs to be some sort of urgency and scarcity. I know people don't like it, but it works.
I think as long as it's legitimate, that, if you are going to pull the replay when you say you're going to just, do it. Don't make it fake urgency and scarcity.
Yeah.
It's trust. But if you really have, I'm only accepting 10 members, then shut it down at 10,
Definitely. I like Billie Jean. Billie Jean.
Yeah.
He had this offer once where if you left the page, so that it always says, if you leave this page, you'll never get this offer ever again. Right. What he did was, every time you left the page, if you went back, it went up by $10. And people, and I didn't go back loads of times, but I could see all the comments where people said, well, I went back, it's gone up. Now it's gone up to 69. Now it's gone up to 79. Every time they went back, they must have had a duplicated page that went up by $10 every time you returned. It was pretty genius.
No kidding. And especially with people coming back, like, that made such an impact on them that they actually came back and commented on it so that other people could see, if I click here and I go see this and I like it, I better do it now. Because I can see that this is what's happening to the other people that are, checking it out. Yeah, nobody said he would, he's got this thing going on right now where he's calling, I think such and such is a genius business on Instagram, I believe it is. And he's breaking down different businesses that he thinks have brilliant marketing. And that's really been kind of fun to watch. Like, he did.
All right, is it? I'll have to go check it out. I do love Billy. I met him a few weeks ago in London.
Oh, fun.
Before Christmas. It was awesome. Yeah.
That is very cool. So you're doing something right now that I really, really love. And actually, it kind of was a little bit of a influence for me, like a little motivation for me to, get on it. But you created a podcast in 2022.
I did. Yes. Yeah,
tell me a little bit about your podcast, because I think it's so beneficial for everyone in this community to go listen.
It is. So basically, I interview people who've achieved the two Comma Club award from ClickFunnels. Mm-hmm. So that is people who've put $1 million through one sales funnel with ClickFunnels, and they get the award if people don't know what it is. So I decided I wanted to interview people who've got the award, basically find out how they did it, because I'm super interested in finding out how people did it. And it's amazing. I love it because I love finding out people's stories. And they're not all the famous ClickFunnels people, the famous ones.
The ones that stand on stage and
no, there's a lot of people. I have had some famous people on from the ClickFunnels world, but I've also had people who people have no clue who they are, and it's really, really interesting to find out how they achieved the 2 Comma Club, but also what they did before.
I really love that there's such a different variety of people. Yes, some are super visible and super, vocal, and others quietly do the thing. And, their combination of funnels plus copy plus offer works for them too. So it just gives me like comfort knowing I don't have to reinvent myself or my business into what someone else is doing. I just need to follow the framework and the system and the recipe in my own way and show it for my audience in the way that I do best. And
definitely.
I just really love that.
It is super interesting.
What's the most unique offer that someone had that made to the 2 Comma Club that you've interviewed?
Do you know what? We had it just a couple of weeks ago. I had this guy who sold basically magic mushrooms.
Okay. All right. All right.
But he sold the kit to make your own mushrooms at home.
That could go so wrong. Say that.
And he said, when he started,
keeps them from going wrong, I'm guessing.
It was just basically a bag of manure and some, what do you call it? Injecting things. What do they call them? I can't even think.
Spores?
Yes, that was it. That's all he was selling. And then how to do it. And it blew up. And it was.
See, anybody, yes. Offer, hook story offer, people. You can sell.
But you think he said his slogan was happy mushrooms for sad people. I loved it. I thought it was amazing because he couldn't. Basically, I asked him, I said, are they magic mushrooms? And he said, well, we're not allowed to sell magic mushrooms. And he did this big disclaimer. Yeah. But he said, it's up to people what they do with them when they get them.
Got it.
It's about what you inject with them. But it was, it blew up over COVID because there was a lot of sad people.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of sad people. And he knew it worked because he was sad and he made the mushrooms and it worked for him and made him happy. So then he just started sharing it with other people and it just went crazy.
That is so unique. Yeah.
I love it when you get stories like that. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so the idea that I thought was so silly, maybe there's something to it, right?
And we had another one. We had another one like that as well. The first ever episode was microgreens.
Oh, yep.
So he taught people how to grow microgreens and sell them, basically.
I love that. See, I would totally nerd out over something like that. I am a gardener, but in Iowa, our growing season is only summertime. And so the idea of having
you just do it in your house.
I need to go look that up because that would make my little heart happy.
It was.
That would be my happy green.
Awesome.
Well, I'm not a sad person, but yes.
And his was so awesome. He forgot about it. He just let it run.
Oh, no. He just left it on and it made him money.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He was so laid back.
That's nice. Well, because he was so darn healthy because of his microgreens. Heather says the mushroom thing is like a grow your own adventure kit. I mean, yes, indeed. Well, awesome. Well, Polly, thank you so much for joining me today. You've given us a lot to think about when it comes to how important copy is in sales funnel world and different ways that we can show up for clients who need funnel copy. How can we connect with you outside of this episode?
You could go check me out on TikTok. I do love my TikTok, which is at 5-Step Funnels.
Awesome. 5 as the number.
Yeah, 5-Step Funnels. And if you want to go check out any of my freebies, which are about funnels, it's 5stepfunnels.com/freebies.
Freebies. Awesome. Please drop that link when we log out here so that everybody can follow that through without having to stumble around. And thank you so much for joining us today. I have had a blast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Awesome. Happy Friday, everybody.
Bye.